Afternoon, yes. All right. Can
So,
you move your screen back a little bit there? Just adjust it. Oh, there you go.
better?
Coffee, yes. Coffee looks good, Jess. Yes, the coffee. I
Water.
am, yeah, good for you. I've been moving all week, so I am like sponsored by coffee this week because that's the only way I could have been. I was not going to complain at all, but my parents moved on Wednesday. And show of hands, those of you who have parents who just like store everything and do not let anything go. Um,
Yes.
my brother got there. My brother's probably not even gonna get on live because he's probably still sleeping or just struggling. So 7 a.m. he got to my parents' house. I rolled in at 5 p.m. and we still did not finish till 1 o'clock in the morning, moving my parents out of their house on
Wow.
Wednesday. And then the hour and 15-minute drive home, got in bed at 2 o'clock, got back up for a 5 a.m. client the next day.
That's insane.
Coffee.
I just came back from a 3-week holiday in Croatia, so I don't need coffee.
Wow. Thanks. Can you put some salt in the wound for me there? Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and it's so funny, right? Like, I mean, we do these things, and I shared this yesterday how my son was. I had nightmares about having to move my grandmother. I think Susan, my client from this morning, is on in the chat still. And I just told her the story this morning, how my I'm trying to talk my parents into giving stuff away. Like, we need to let go, we need to move on, be grateful for stuff. Mary Kondo, everything. Thank you for your service. Goodbye. Move on. I pick up this baby bath. You know those plastic molded mini bath things for children.
Yes. Yeah.
And it has a blanket in it I recognize from my childhood, and it's sitting in there. And it said, "Mom, we can we just get rid of this? Like, this needs to move on. There's no babies in this house. Even the grandkids are too old." And she's like, "But that's yours."
She's keeping it because it's yours. Yes, I know
I'm like,
that.
"Mom, this is 46 years old."
Yeah.
Like,
Aren't you
it just,
sentimental enough to keep it?
no. She's like, "Do you want it?" And I was like, no, I want to donate it. I want it to be gone.
My
So
husband's mother, my mother-in-law, she keeps, giving us stuff from his, like, he drew this, he made that, or
he
this
drew this.
towel.
Yeah.
So okay. And then I feel guilty for wanting to get rid of it because it's like
Yes.
a gazillion years old. Yeah,
Right.
I'm not a hoarder. I'm not a hoarder. I'm
Not
not.
a hoarder. It's been like some good life lessons. So you want to just tie it into like life lessons. Everything that I've looked at, I'm like, do I really need this? And we talk big talk about like we're gonna give stuff away, and then when it comes down to it, we're like,
Yeah, but
okay,
I heard something really great because my dad passed away 3 years ago, and we like a few years before we moved him into this apartment, and my siblings helped him move, and he was just holding on to every piece of paper, and he didn't want to give anything away. So
right.
basically, the boxes that they packed for him from the other apartment we threw out 3 years ago.
Hmm.
And then I noticed that, in terms of when we think about, loving our neighbor, then for us as parents, it is actually important, to get our life in order that our children don't have to spend a week going through every paper and every junk mail that you ever got because it's in a
Yes.
box.
Right.
To love your neighbor, your children well, is to get your life in order and don't just
Hmm.
hoard everything that you found or bought or that's sentimental to you.
Right.
And yeah, I like that. So, I'm trying, but I'm hopefully not dying yet. So maybe, who knows? In 40 years we'd be different. We're
Yeah,
holding on to the blankets.
we have like 50 years to get it in order, so we'll do it later, right? Like,
Yes.
that's
Yes,
what
we do. Yeah,
everyone
exactly.
says
Yeah.
anyway, but crazy. So anyway, so that's been my week. So I've been loving all the conversations I've been having all week, but it has been tough.
Intense.
Like, it's been
Yeah.
intense, and good chats too, right? Like, I mean, the justice that I had on Justice Rowe, trans black fitness professional gentleman that has like he's just so passionate about it. So like that conversation was really rich. And then Stella was talking about just flowing with passions. And then Wendy too. Wendy Arbuckle was talking about breathing and breath, and a woman in her 70s doing Pilates and just knows her stuff and is so chill because she's seen it all, right? Like she was taught by like Kathy Grant and like all these
Wow.
different, so and Ramana taught her and all these different people. So she has all these different worldviews on Pilates that she's melded into her own message. And it inspires me as well because like I've been taught by not that I'm name dropping, but like I was taught by Chris Robinson, and then I talked with like Joel Crosby and with Brooke Seiler and all these different people that are our contemporaries and our generation of fantastic teachers, but we still need to find our own message. You know what I mean?
So what do
So
you think, what do you think is your message?
I think that my message is Pilates, and it's going to sound cliche, but Pilates is for everybody.
Hmm.
That's a given. But Pilates, my message is that Pilates can be a game changer for men. If you're an athlete
Okay.
and
Hmm.
you think that you know it all and you've trained everything, you need to try Pilates and see how that can enhance your sport, your life. I said it yesterday, in the boardroom, in the locker room, in the bedroom.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. So what about Pilates do you think men and in particular athletes would profit from?
I love the fact that you've just taken over my show here.
That's what you said I should do. You said I should ask you
Yes.
questions. There you go.
Absolutely. Um, so the way that I think that it helps them is that it it makes you stronger in your weakest links.
Okay.
And the reason
Hmm.
why I say that is because when I was doing my studies and working with Chris, he was like, stop working out. I challenge all of you to stop resistance training while you're learning this Pilates so you can get Pilates in your body. And I had to really, even stop and think about what it means to have Pilates in your body. But when I stopped, my squats and chasing after my bench press and all those numbers and stuff from playing football that we were programmed to just think big numbers, big weights, when I stopped that and I lost probably about 5 pounds of muscle and I was really, really miserable because I wasn't lifting and our Pilates that we're doing the intro module. So I'm the type of person that locks into one thing. So I'm doing basic exercises. I've dropped off my resistance training and that serotonin and all those things were just dropping. And I was almost like depressed in a sense. But then as we continue to do more and dive deeper into work and stuff, I was realizing I was faster, I was stronger, I was lighter,
Hmm.
and playing flag football and weekends and stuff, I was performing at a higher level. So I recognized from in my own body that resistance training is great, but this was the thing that was getting like my glute min to fire properly. I was getting certain muscles to move with full range of motion. I could drive my hips higher and get faster. So Pilates was that game changer. It was making me stronger in those weakest links, and my numbers weren't dropping off. So my bench press was still high, even though I wasn't benching like every single day. I would try, every few weeks. I just touch some weight, just see how I felt. It's like, oh, I feel pretty strong still. So that was like my testimonial of how Pilates was helping me, and recognize that this for other athletes who are trying to get that edge, get that advantage. If everyone in the room is just lifting weights and you add Pilates to what you're doing, you're going to be stronger in those areas where you thought that you were as strong as you could be. It's going to break you down, right? So um,
So do you think that the method reveals the weakest link, or is it the eyes of the teacher on you, or both?
yes, I think it is
Okay.
both, right? I mean,
Yes, me
but
too.
but at the same time, though, Victoria, we can get lucky as teachers. I was saying this earlier this week too. If I'm a novice teacher and I take you through the to like
Yeah.
a repertoire of say basic exercises, intermediate exercises, I'm going to discover something that doesn't work for my body. I'm going to discover
Yeah.
that one leg moves different than the other. I'm going to discover that I just can't do an exercise, or that some advanced exercise is easy and some basic exercise is difficult. It'll
I call the first few exercises on the mat, probably about to where you get to spine stretch forward. I call them the lie detector because your body cannot
right,
lie. And yes,
right.
if I have a new client, I always start them actually, with a few mat exercises just to, because then you see, like even on my holiday now, because we were camping, our next door, door neighbor.
Yeah.
She had back pain, and I didn't tell her that I was a teacher, so we talked. And but then in the end, I told her and I offered her an assessment, and that's what I did.
Yes.
I assessed her with the first few exercises of the mat work,
Hmm.
and I could tell her, a lot about her body, what I see,
Yes.
and great because that's what she knew from her physiotherapist and whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she's from Slovenia, so she's not going to be training with me, but
Hmm.
it is so exciting, to get, first of all, after years, of teaching, to have better eyes, to see better, and
That's
then
it.
to see how the work reveals things to people.
Yes. Well, and
Yeah.
Emma made the comment here. The method might reveal the weakness, but the teacher needs to see it. And that's the second part of what I was going to say is that I can throw exercises at you, but now as I work with more advanced teachers, more experienced teachers, uh, the thing that I'm trying to learn from them is what do they see? Like we both know
Yeah.
the exercise. We both may even cue the exercise the same way, but what are they seeing that I don't see?
Mm-hmm.
And so once we get to that place where we can recognize the nuances of a movement and what might be happening in the body, that's when we've pulled together a really good teaching practice.
Yeah, exactly. But I felt, for me, because I've only been a teacher a few years, and I started 2014,
Mhm.
and just everything that I did around not just Pilates, but diving deep into natural movement from Katie Bowman. Do you know her?
No, I don't.
She's a biomechanist, and she's a natural movement guru,
Okay.
and just diving into her work and learning a lot about natural movements, just how
Mm.
body is designed to move and
Yes.
why we should move in a certain way. Myself transitioning then into the whole barefoot movement
Okay. Yeah.
um, situation, and taking this into my Pilates practice, and just learning so much about my body. And just the past few years I've been training, and then also now studying under Sherry Berkowitz. Do you know her?
I've heard the name, but no, I don't know her. People I need
She
to get
is
on.
a Yeah, she's a very well-known Pilates teacher. She's a biomechanist too, and just
Okay.
having her, and she has a PhD in biotensegrity, so fascia
Wow.
research,
A
and just
PhD in
having
it?
this. Yes, and just having her whole set of eyes, and why do we do the move this way, and why are the low abdominals so important, and why do we not cue them like this? Why should we cue them like that? And because her field of research is the thoracolumbar, the TFL, the fascia in our back, the
Yes.
thoracolumbar fascia, whatever that word is in English.
Yes.
and and that's her field of research, so her whole work is geared towards that, and just having all these bits and pieces. And then I'm a huge fan of, do you know Philip Beach? He's an osteopath, and I followed his work,
Okay. No.
and just having these crazy pieces. And I was at a point where I had to
Yes.
stop everything, because I just needed to decide, okay, what direction am I going to go? And
That's the whole thing, right? Like, yeah.
yes, that's what came out. I'm going in towards the direction that I want to work in the classical field. That's why my name is Real Pilates. Just I want to
Hmm.
do what Pilates taught, Mr.
Hmm.
Pilates, in a biomechanical sound and natural body sound way. So this
Yes.
is, my my direction. Let's put it that way.
Yes, exactly. I'd love to hear for those in the chat, like, what is your direction? And the reason why I ask it that way is because we bring like a body of knowledge, we bring like this breadth of experience to our Pilates, right? So like my background with like sport conditioning, working with athletes and personal training is what I bring to Pilates. So I can layer in, I can take someone out on the gym floor and teach them how to deadlift, and then come back into the studio and then show them the reformer sort of thing. We have all these different pieces that we tie together, and that's what makes us unique in our Pilates practice. So for those of you in the chat, what's your direction, so to speak? What have you layered in? I know Jessica, for example, has like TRX and a lot of those functional movement type things that you could tie into that. Or so it's just interesting. I love how people are always have the courage to add that to their Pilates. Like you take the course, you take a teacher training or apprenticeship and you think, okay, well, I can just teach within this one lane sort of thing. It's like, well, no, this will benefit people too. And I've had this from before. How do we marry all of these things into a
Well,
practice?
I'm such a black and white person, and when I started my training, my initial teacher, she was trained by the Power Pilates
Hmm.
brand
Family, yeah.
branch, and then Bob Leakin started this whole thing with the Pilates standard. So I
Yes.
was under him, in Austria, being taught by my teacher, and she's a great teacher to learn how the exercise works. How does it
Yes.
go?
Hmm.
How do you do it? And the order, and just being intentional about these things. She taught us really great in the way of that I can easily teach two different clients on two different apparatus with two different issues and two different whatever.
Yes.
We learned this like crazy, and I can do that easily. It's not my preferable thing to do, but I can do it. But
It's more work for
I
us,
didn't.
but yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I didn't know why. So when I
Mm.
met Shari on a workshop, it was actually just when I finished my mat degree, and I had so many questions because I spent so much time with her in Vienna. I was her guide, and we were just talking and talking and talking, and she just
Mm.
explored. She just opened my eyes that there are things how and why to do things
Yes.
that way. So I was in shock and I was depressed for a few months because I was
Really
confused. I didn't know what to do.
confused.
Was this
Yes.
right? Was that right? And yeah, so then I learned, yes, yes, there's a way, and I can, get this from this side. So from my initial training, I have a firm foundation in the classical work, how exercises work,
Yes.
and then building on this, I have a huge repertoire now. Why, with this body, and
Hmm.
how, and why not, and why does it not work, and how could
Yes.
it work, and how do we help? And so my clientele is actually consists largely of people who have issues. I mean, in their body, not just
Right. Right.
yeah. And it's interesting. It's challenging, but it's fun.
It's fun.
That was a
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
that was a very long answer. Or did you even ask a question? Did I
I
just speak?
yeah, yes, that was good. That was a good answer. Just don't stop. Her comment here is my focus is on making natural movement stronger, training people to do more than they thought they could do. Yeah, I love doing that too. That's so good. I was trained by Sherry with Power Pilates.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's great combination there. It's so funny, training people to do more than they thought they can do. That is one of the most gratifying things for me as a coach, trainer, instructor, teacher, or whatever you want to call what we do. Because like it's true. People come in and they're so limited and they're so short-sighted by an injury or their movement or their confidence in their body that we from the outside looking in see so much more of their potential. And then we just get them on this path, moving them towards their potential, physically, emotionally, whatever. And it's fun when they start to catch up with us on
Yes.
this journey, right?
Yes, exactly. I love training older women, like really
Okay.
old women, and I actually just love to work with women in
Hmm.
particular. But I love to encourage women to gain strength, and Pilates is strength training, right? And
Yes.
um, I don't want to miss that. I want to really encourage women, especially older women, to really have muscle, because
Yes.
muscle, especially if we see the light of the last year of the pandemic, I think not enough people were talking about how to, on a larger scale, especially in the governments, we're talking about how to strengthen our immune system, how to
Yes.
really be able to not get sick of any disease, not just COVID.
Hmm.
And muscle is a really crucial thing to have because our
Yes.
muscles, apparently, it might be even so that our muscles store T cells for our immune system. So if you, like older people, they fall, right, and they break
Yes.
their leg, and then they
Hmm.
can't move anymore, so their muscle mass drops, and
Drops.
then they lose, yes, and then they lose significant amounts of their immune system, and then
Yes.
they, sometimes die of a minor infect. So, just really, encourage women, encourage people to really, dive into strength. You need strength,
Hmm.
muscle. And if a muscle
Absolutely.
is big, it has to be strong. So you need a good butt, and
Yes.
you need good lats, and you
Yes.
don't overwork your abs, but think about your arms as women, be able to do a pull up. And so that's
Yes.
basically
I'm sensing some passion with that.
yes, yes, I have a lot of passion. Yes,
Yeah. Jess, don't
especially
stop. Sorry, say that again?
especially after 3 weeks of holiday.
Oh, right, exactly. You're just on fire, just ready to
Yeah,
go.
yes,
Feel sorry
just
for
want to
your
rub
first
that
clients
in.
back. Her comment says, I decided I didn't want to go the route of just dealing with issues. Let's talk about the issue and get moving and not talk about the issue unless it comes up again. That, yeah, exactly. And that's kind of ties into what when I'm dealing with people and talking with my clients, it's like, well, what can you do? We get so caught up in the what can't you do. I can't, my
Yeah.
shoulder doesn't move like this, my neck doesn't move like this, and my leg doesn't move like that. Okay, what can you do? Let's do that stuff. And if that triggers
Hmm.
something else, then let's address it. But let's get you feeling competent and strong and confident and moving with the other 300 other parts of your body that still do work, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we were initially talking before about fear of movement, right? When we
Yes.
spoke privately.
For like 20
And
minutes instead of like a 2 minute touch. Yes.
um, I have a few clients that are in severe pain after, having a herniated disc, and they come back and they
Mm,
want to, work. And I mean, a huge thing is just, to build up trust in their own body again that they can move. And then, of course, you totally avoid the spot that they have their pain in. You're not going to do rolling like a ball on a on a back that's herniated.
herniated. Yeah. Right.
But you might do footwork on a reformer where you might do things where the back is stable, and then build trust that they can move. And that's, I think, really part of our work, and also the beauty that we can instill confidence in the people again that they can move and
Yes.
they should move, and because they have their border way out that they don't want to move, and then we slowly teach them how to get rid of the border and really find, okay, this is where I really need to stop, this is the
Yes.
border that I need to hold. So I enjoy
Mm,
that,
yes.
working with people, building up confidence, building them up, encouraging them, and yeah.
Yes. And Jess Don't Stop says, yes, exactly. Yeah. And that fear ties into so many other things. There's been so much talk about mental wellness these days and social media and the fact that with quarantine and people have been at home and it there's that mental health piece becomes so much more a part of what we do. And I feel like as Pilates instructors or fitness people, we didn't necessarily sign up for that, but we're seeing so much of it. We have to be adept at looking at it, speaking to it, and knowing, and also knowing when to refer out to someone when
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
outside of your scope.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, Over the past few months, I've only had one client who lost somebody due to COVID, and she's in a state of mourning right now. And like I shared before, my father died 3 years ago, and I felt,
Yes.
I went to my own Pilates practice with my teacher, and I felt when I moved, a lot of my emotions were able to be released. So when she
Mm,
came for the first time again and we saw each other, I felt like she's holding it together.
yes.
And I told her, this is not the place for you to hold it together. This is the
Right.
place for you to be able to release whatever is there. And she
Mm,
has cried here and she has laughed here. But every time she walks out, she feels better. And
yes.
I think it's so crucial for us to have a space, that is safe for them and where they
Mm,
can explore whatever it is. Is it a fear of
yes.
moving? Is it a fear of sharing,
Of
what's
sharing,
going
of
on in their
emoting.
life?
Right. Yes.
Of, feeling their emotions, whatever it is. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, I think we can be a place where it can be contained and, kind
Yes.
of held in some sort.
Right.
Yeah, does
And
that make
hold.
sense?
Yes, exactly. Like you're saying, to hold space for, you're holding space for people. You're creating a space where
Yes.
it's not about the Martin Reed show right now. It is for you to come and share your story, to move as how your body needs to move to feel better,
Yes.
whether it's a physical feeling better or an emotional feeling better 50 minutes from now,
Yes.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me cry to think about that because it's such an honor, to
Yes.
walk with people in this way, and experience their life.
Well
And I
said.
think that's why it's important, why we should go on holiday a lot because we need a break from that as well.
Yes.
Do you get to go on holiday in Canada? I know America is crazy like that, right? You just get like 5 minutes of holiday and then you fix your house. You have to go back to work again.
Right. Yeah, pre-COVID, we would. Yeah, my wife and I, pretty disciplined. Like, let's just leave the country. Let's take some time. I like taking like 4 day weekends, like once a quarter. Like that was my cadence pre-COVID too, where it'd be like 4 days. Let's go to Jamaica for 4 days and come back. Let's just do something, just to stop, just unplug, and then come back. And I think that that reset is really important. And I tried to find ways of doing that more now that we can't travel. And I think I've been pretty good with that, whether it's my time, getting in my car and going for a drive or journaling or just recognizing what my body needs and doing that, right? It's so easy to continue to accommodate people, but just to be like, hard stop, I'm gone. I'm just checking out,
Yeah.
not picking up my phone for 40 hours, and I'll see you on the other side. If something happens, find someone, I'll help you, that sort of thing. So I've tried to do more of that. I was going to say something back just around um, ultimately around the intimacy piece of that conversation with that person who just needs to cry, or that person that just needs to be able to just let go and put the guard down. I'm seeing that too with some of my clients. So one of the men that I'm working with right now, where he's finding this amazing safety in having just another man to talk to about stuff. Like
Wow.
you're in a profession now, you're working from home, you're home with your kids and your wife, and everything's good. But like, how many other people are at a similar stage of life for you that you can actually just sit and have a face-to-face, eye-to-eye conversation with? Not much of that's happening. And I recognize that there's days where he's apologetically like, man, we didn't do anything today. I'm like, no, actually, this is probably what you needed more than whatever we had planned to do, whatever my little personal agenda was for the day. This is what you needed. And to create that space for people
Yeah.
to have that openness of their heart, right? And for guys, like, I mean, straight up, guys, it's,
Yes.
I'm very big on that. And I've had guys on here as well who are about letting men emote and just like topping all these stoic stereotypes of, everything from, toxic masculinity to whatever, to just holding space. Like, this is my safe space where people can come in. And I think that that's my agenda, my alternate agenda for this. Like, yes, I want to get men to come in and move and feel better and stronger, but I also want men to come in and be themselves, and then don't have to
Yeah.
put on that brave front for their kids, and they don't have to have things figured out for their wives. They can come and be like, I don't know what's going on with me right now, like, sort of thing, and have those hard conversations in the place where they know that it's not going to leave this room. And then you can go back out in the world and put your game face back on, but you could take your game face off while you're here.
But don't you feel that, especially around, I'm always so fascinated about how much movement, is connected to who we really are and how it comes out, right? Like you see that in the world of dance. I mean,
Yes.
people when they dance, they either had too much vodka or or they can, just, I don't know, just let something out, right? And then also in
Mm.
our setting, as it's so mindful, first, I think it puts, people, when I was grieving, I was really grieving for a whole year. And sometimes my Pilates practice even, brought out the grief more and I cried. But a lot of times it just, took my mind completely off because it's so
Yes.
mindful, right? And you just
Right.
concentrate on what's going on. That's why I love that. I don't know how you do it, but I don't play music, so it's quiet. And
Yes.
we just hear the apparatus or you hear what the teacher is saying and
Mm.
mostly probably too much. And, and it's just, just brings you, because you're moving your body, it either, eases you away from what you were, so preoccupied, or it
Yes.
might just bring it up and you need to
Mm.
share it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I just love that part a lot.
Right. And in the same way as a teacher, going back to the earlier conversation about whether it's the movement that helps or the teacher's eye that helps,
Yeah.
when we can have our eye recognize what the person needs, in that sense of there's times where people will come in here and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get you to move and not think about what's going on in your world. Like, this is your safe
Yeah.
space to come
Hmm.
in and let's distract you from
Yes.
everything else so you can check out and check into your body. And there's other times where we need to check into those emotions because that's going to give you permission to move afterwards. So just
Yes.
getting a sense, and it's trial and error. Like, but by no means, Victoria, I'm not saying you have to be perfect at this the first time. Like, you can mess this up royally, but if you have a relationship with your client, you can navigate those messy things and just recognize that, I was wrong today, but this is maybe next time I'll get it right, and just have permission to play with that. I'm
Yeah,
going to read
totally. Hmm.
Emmett's comment here is what you guys are saying is really interesting. I noticed that it's all rooted in a one-on-one teaching environment. Yes, I love groups but I find that, just to answer Emma's question, I love group setting, I love group dynamics, and I love the creation of community, but I always try and have a one-on-one touch point with my people. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
if I have some kind of setting where the community has a point to grow together, that's great, but that won't happen in the absence of me having like a personal touch point with each person. So everyone in
Yes.
the room
Yes.
would have some kind of personal relationship with me. So I'm trying to cultivate
Yes.
both concurrently.
Yes, it's the same thing for me. I have a personal relationship with every client that I have. And my studio is not, I'm not huge. My groups are fairly small. I have like up to 10 people. Now I have a bigger space. I could have more, but because of COVID, not. But I know every person. I know every person personally,
Yes.
and I have a relationship with them. But of course, when they come for private or semi-private, there is more of that,
Hmm.
ongoing sharing life. But I
Sharing
try
life.
also, I try, to be the person that is approachable whenever they come in. And this is something that Sherry is really great at, the way she teaches. And, she teaches the teachers to be really friendly and kind. And when you're
Hmm.
like this, you're approachable, and then you will have a relationship with your clients. First of all, it's
Yes.
going to bind them more to you because it's a personal thing,
Yeah.
different than in a gym where random people just walk in and out
Hmm.
of your classes, and
Hmm.
which can be good too, but I prefer, the personal touch.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And reading the second comment here, not meant as a criticism. I also have a personal relationship with all of my clients, but there is always other clients in the room, so energy is different. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just it, right?
yes,
Like,
of course.
and I think that
Mm-hmm.
I call it, when I was doing counseling and had to moderate stuff, I call it directing traffic,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have to understand how to direct the traffic and what the dynamics of the room are going to be like, and all those things. So, and Emmett's a master of that. Like, I think we all figure that out, um, how personal and how what the environment is that we're going to create for the space. But like what Tammy just put up there, relationship is so important. I think that that's ultimately the bottom line, is that we're still cultivating relationship, cultivating community ultimately, whether
Yes.
it's in a group setting or one-on-ones. Like, that's my bottom line, is like, how am I building relationship with this person right now?
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what my heart really, my heart beats for relationships in any setting. And I just love this. I love the thinking of community. I love having, larger groups. I like investing in different people. I
Yes.
like, little friends groups too, but I don't know. I just
Mm-hmm.
love everything about relationship. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. For me, it's hard when I feel I can't connect. And in a probably a
Yes.
very large setting, I wouldn't be able to really connect to the
Mm-hmm.
individual,
Great.
but maybe not.
Yeah. You never know. Like, I was thinking, like, it's fun when I have a group of people, and it hasn't happened in a while now, but like when there's people that I have a personal relationship, three or four, and then I see them talking and connecting, and then all of a sudden I'm on the outside of this circle,
Yes,
and
exactly.
and you hear that they went out for dinner or they did something, and all these things are happening,
And I
and
wasn't
I
invited.
wasn't there. Like, and
Yes.
I'm fine with not being invited. I'm actually, it like gives me joy because like they'll be like,
Yes.
we met because of you.
Yes. Uh-huh. I have a few semi-privates that are not couples, but they met, because I put them together and that they're friends now. So this is, I mean, this is wonderful, right? When we
Wonderful.
get to, yes, when we get to connect people, that connects them again more to your studio, which is going to bring up maybe more clients, and it's a
Yes.
win-win on both sides.
It is. It is. I'm not
Yes.
afraid to say that. That's a great business strategy.
Do you find actually that you attract the people that stay, as your clients that are comfortable with the way you are and the space that you have?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And those are the ones that now I've been teaching and training long enough that I think that I have the privilege of choosing who I want to work with.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is not like I'm saying like I'm gonna touch you on this, like I want you to work with me. There's people who will come in, they'll sign up for one or two classes, and then they'll sign up for more, and then 6 years later they're still with me, and then we're working on new goals and new stuff because there's that connection. And then there's other people who show up, they do a couple sessions, and I never see them again, and that's fine too. I think everyone has thing. Emmett, have a great weekend. I think he's on vacation over the next 2 weeks, but he's been in my conversations all week. So enjoy. Thank you for jumping on. Um, yeah, so that happens. And what happens is we land at our people. And that's when I always say, like, what's your message for your people? You have people that you're in community with, like those are your people. And I realize that I have my people. I'm so privileged to have my people, and people pass through that, and new people will become my people, and other people will just pass
Yes.
through, and that's just how it is,
Yes,
so
totally. Absolutely. Because I loved, I was listening to the podcast with Jean-Claude. I know him personally, so it
oh,
was fun to hear him talking to you and how he talked about, the people of Monaco and how he reduced
yes,
his like he scaled down his smaller studio so he can work with the people he wants to work with. And I feel
yes,
the same way. I live outside of Vienna, and people are richer here where I live,
hmm,
but my prices are not very high because I don't want this one group of people who can afford my work. I want
yes,
a broader spectrum, and then I can draw the people that are, more fitting to what I want to give them, which is
yes,
more than just Pilates. It is a way of life, and it's a way of, how to live better, how to be more healthy in each way, like even
mm,
like before about emotional health and physical health and
yes,
whatever it is. People tend to ask us all kinds of things because they look up to us as professionals, right?
yes,
And we have so much. I don't know, we just have a platform we can talk into people, and I think if it's the kind of people that are appreciative of who you are, then they will receive your message, and it kind of
yes,
is goes back and forth there.
reciprocates, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There's a saying that I heard somewhere, and I used it as one of my posts a long time ago. The zenith of any relationship is friendship.
Okay. Yeah,
And
it's good.
yeah, I thought that was nice because like we think that the zenith, the highest height of a relationship is marriage, is intimacy, is all these things. But really it's friendship. It is those connections that we make with people where you can be truly yourself and authentic. And the reason why I've said that is because in my practice, I feel like, people are strangers, and then they become acquaintances. My acquaintances become friends, my friends become family. And I feel that
Yeah.
everyone is on this continuum of
Hmm.
somewhere in those checkpoints, right? But it's all friendship,
Yes.
right? They move from this being like acquaintance to friends, right? And then over time, like they're having children, and you're the first person to know that they're pregnant because they want to be safe through their
Yes.
pregnancy, right? So like they tell
Yes,
you stuff
exactly.
they haven't
Yes.
told their
Or
their employers,
on
but
TV right now, or they lost a baby, and you're the first person who
yes,
knows besides their partner. So
right,
yes, it's insane. If I would have more time, I would be going out for coffee with so many of my clients. Like it doesn't matter their age. Even my older ladies, 82, I would love to sit and have coffee with them and talk
yes,
more because they're
yes,
just amazing and we get along so well and there's a connection and we don't ever have time to talk enough.
right,
So just one more question I want to ask you because
sure,
it came up in our holiday.
mm,
And we're a friends group going on holiday together because you talked about marriage and friendship and what do you think is the essence of marriage for you?
That's a
You
good
have to boil
question.
it down.
I love
Yes.
that. I'm putting my coffee down because I love this question so much. My wife says to me, and we talk about this a lot actually, is like, she'll say, I love you. She goes, but I really like you.
Hmm.
There's something about liking somebody. Like, I can, like, I
Yeah.
love my kids, but do I always really like them? Like, this, it's the liking them piece that makes me
And I
excited
like them
about
a
them.
lot, or do I like one more at the
Right,
moment?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
My
Uh-huh.
spouse, like I really I love her, but I really like her too. If something happens and I'm like, who's the first person I want to call? I want to call her. Oh,
Hmm.
guess what just happened? Or I see something really cool. I'm driving down the street and I see a really cool cafe. Who's the first person I think that I want to go there with? I want to check that out with. Is the person that I like. I may not, what I mean? Like I could love her, but thinking, oh, it'd be so fun to go there with my friend Damon. So I'm not knocking other people and stuff like that, but like there's a sense I think that the thing is liking the person, actually
So it's
wanting to spend
companionship.
companionship. Yes, yes,
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because one of our group is not married, and he's advanced in age, not that old, but
Hmm.
he's never been married. And he said he figured it out. It's about laying down your life. So marriage is about laying down your life that you do, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought about that hard, and I talked to my husband, and I didn't come up with that answer. I came
I feel
I
like
came
my
up
answer is pretty
more.
lame now too, actually.
No, but he's not married. You know, it's
Yeah,
not just about laying down your life. It's, I think, really, and my husband and me, we kind of agreed. It's really about companionship and
yeah.
sharing. You know, doing life with each other, and
Doing life together. Yes.
yes, doing life together,
Yeah.
and having, like we just said, you know, in our Pilates studio, creating a safe place where
Hmm.
people can, if they have to, unravel,
Hmm.
being that safe place in the very small setting of the marriage where we both can grow and we can unravel, because that relationship is going to bring out things that no other relationship is going to touch.
No other
And
context will give you that
exactly, yeah. And for me, you know, that was my answer more. It was companionship, and
companionship.
yes, and having a safe place where the other one can unravel, and it's not,
Sure.
maybe not going to be pretty, and I won't like it, and then I maybe don't like him so much at the
Hmm.
moment, or he
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
like me,
Right.
but we're
Yeah.
staying. Yeah.
You're saying, yeah,
So,
exactly. When and I've only been married for 4 years now, in my second marriage here, and I realized that the reason why we stuck around, sort of thing, is when we're in this boyfriend girlfriend phase, is that I really did like that notion of her being like my best friend, the person that I started to plan stuff with and start to think about more, and all these things, and that liking of the person. So marriage then becomes hang out with your best friend all the time in my head this time around. Whereas the first time around, I was my prerequisites were different. Like you're thinking, well,
mhm.
I'm going to grow old with this person. I'm going to have kids with this person. Is this person going to be a good parent? Is this person? So my prerequisites for marriage, so to speak, were different. Whereas now it is companionship. This is a person I want to do stuff with. I want to sit down in a cafe with. I want to go on a vacation with. I want to enjoy time with them. I want to do life with this person. And yeah, so a companionship that captures it for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was something that my husband told me. That was part of his personal vows, actually, towards me.
Mm,
We've been married 16 years now in June, and he said that this is something, because we, you know, before we got married, we even, you know, I mean, since we're married too, but we love going hiking and rock climbing and skiing and just, you know, doing stuff together. And was
yes.
something, you know, that
Playing.
very important, that we are that we're companions, that
Yes.
I'm not just his lover and his wife, but I would be his companion in these things, you know. And if you cultivate
Yes.
that, I think, yeah, it's fun.
It is
Yes, we
fun.
like hanging out together. Yes, it is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's not to take away from people who aren't married, but I think that when you have that template within your marriage, it's not hard to create like a mini version of that with each of your clients. How do you cultivate relationship? How
Yeah,
do you cultivate this small, like you have them for an hour,
yes.
2 hours, 3 hours a week? How do you cultivate some semblance of that companionship
Aspect.
and that
Yes,
aspect of it?
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes, yes, I think so too. Because I mean, we replicate what we are, right? Somehow, even in
yes,
our work.
Well said.
especially
Yeah.
when you work with people so closely. And that's definitely part of my space that like I said, if I would have more time, if I wouldn't have children, if I would have more time, I would go, I would hang out with more of my clients because
Mhm.
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just a time thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting, fun.
It is so fun. We're over
Mhm.
time.
We
That
are?
just totally flew through.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, it
Yes.
was fast.
Yes.
Fun.
And Dan Z Rose, thanks for joining us. Um, any other comments? There was one comment that flew by I wanted to go back to. Um, B Nuts surname, Lalaby said so much tension in the body and fears in the soul are released when the body begins to exercise. And she was talking from her own experience. Yeah, that was a great point in a conversation we were talking about, like that, those tensions that get released through movement and just recognizing how, and how that is connected, right? It's beautiful. Really
Yeah,
good
I mean,
stuff.
I don't know, probably you also see, in your practice and in your studio, but when people come and they are, talking about people probably in pain, and you see how they move, you can see maybe where this was created, right? Like, because they're
Yes.
holding their breath, they're holding your rib cage really high the whole time, they're really
Mm.
scared, or that's how they were always moving, and maybe
Yes,
it
through
worked for
life.
years and years and years, and then it's not working anymore, or I see a lot of actually women, with very tense shoulders because they're carrying too much,
Yes.
and then also their breath, the way they're breathing shows that, and that's just for them to realize, oh, I don't have to hold my abs in all the time when I'm breathing. I can actually, I have to release my stomach so I can
Yes.
breathe. And it's just so interesting, to see
Yes.
people move. It tells you a lot about. It can tell you a lot about how they are
It
in
can. It
some
really
aspect.
can. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Victoria, I walk away from conversations like this, I'm feeling so grateful for the work that we do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
me
this is,
too.
don't you feel
Yes.
like there's this sense of like this awesome responsibility that we have? The sense where it's
Yes,
just
it
like,
really,
we can go through the motions or we can really lean into being intentional with what we've been given and just enjoy the people that we work with.
yes, yes, exactly. And the talent that we have been given, because um, I maybe everybody could be a teacher and teach, but maybe not. And it's just, I'm very grateful that I can do what I do and that I have the eyes for it, that I have, that I can feel into my clients, so to speak, what they kind of
Yes.
need, and then to have a method that actually really works, that you can
Yes.
use, and it's not just, all over the place, but it has like a kind of, some borders somehow,
Yes. Right.
so
Absolutely. That's exactly it. And that is why you're a hero. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have to leave now anyway because my client is waiting.
Oh, I know. Sorry for pulling you over time, but I really enjoyed the chat. Thank you so much,
Yeah, it
Victoria.
was it was really good. It was really good. Thank you so much for inviting me. And
Mhm.
yes,
Yes. Thank you so much to everyone who joined. I'm gonna let her go and have a great week, everybody. This is awesome, and we'll see you next week. All right, Tammy.
bye.
Okay, thanks. See ya.